My name is. I didn't really have a football name yet. Is there such a thing as a football name? No, there isn't. But yeah, been waiting for the Brazil Japan game to start. It should be an interesting one. I don't really know a lot about Japan except for my boy Tomiyasu there. But from what I know about Asian teams, particularly Asian teams, is that, they quick play. I've seen their exercise or training regimes, which again, ironically, were blamed for why South Korea lost to us because they looked fatigued for some reason, but just excuses. But all I know about Asian teams is that, especially Asian teams that make it to the World Cup, that qualify for the World Cup, is that they're really fast, they play really quick, they are technically gifted somewhat, not a lot of creativity. Apologies for generalizing about Japan. I just haven't seen Japan play in a while. Brazil, on the other hand, I've seen Brazil play a lot throughout the years. Can't say I was impressed or am impressed by this year's World Cup or their performance during this year's World Cup. I was a big advocate of them bringing Carlo Ancelotti on because I felt like, especially from a European/South American point of view, that he would bring sort of, like Dunga did when he was the coach. He would bring technical sensibilities and just plain, boring, straightforward sensibilities of play into a creative, sometimes uncontrollably creative Brazil team. What I hadn't considered was the fact that these Brazilians, or especially this generation of Brazilians, they tend to move to Europe quite early. So for instance, I'll give an example with my boy, Martinelli. Martinelli's been playing at Arsenal since he was 16. In fact, and I stand to be corrected, of course, but I'll look it up. I haven't looked it up. But Martinelli was registered as a local bred player for Arsenal Football Club. That's how his development came about. So I don't know if there will be any Brazilian sensibilities, or especially in the ilk of the old guard. You know what I mean? So I can say that I was quite disappointed at the performance of Brazil, or performances of Brazil, since the start of this World Cup. My boy Gabriel Magalhães is still holding it down, but he's a defender. And maybe the benefit of having European sensibilities is the fact that the defense is at least solid. You know what I mean? Like, maybe the defense is a bit solid, but I think they've lost their spark as a culture, and I think they've lost their culture as a footballing nation, especially not in the way they play in Brazil. But now looking at the squad, I don't see any. I'm seeing Man United players, I'm seeing Arsenal players, I'm seeing European players. So I don't know. I think they've kind of lost their tradition in that regard. Everybody's sort of playing in Europe. Nobody's Brazilian anymore. I think there's Neymar, but Neymar is like, he's a bit old for the World Cup. Not old in general, not old in life, but football. So, verdict. I think because of the intensity, there's still probably going to be like a 2-1 Brazil win. I don't know if it's going to be anything special about it. I know that there's not going to be a lot of difference in play between the two teams, and I think Japan still can make a huge go of it. I just think Brazil, especially the Brazilian players, ironically because they play in Europe, I blamed Europe for them losing their culture, but ironically because they play there, they play at what most people, I don't know how true that is, but I'm an Arsenal fan personally, so I can sort of attest to that. But Most people would say that they play at the highest level, most of them. Their captain, I think it's Marquinhos, plays for PSG, who just whooped the fuck out of us. But and I think they've got Vinny, they've got Gabriel, as I said, they've got Alisson. So it's basically about being a quality players who are tried and tested at the highest level. But I don't think they're going to win because of their Brazilianness. I just think they're going to win because of their caliber in general as players. And for some reason, I think that's a shame, because we really need a Brazil that plays like Brazil. But who knows?